My wife told me yesterday that I should consider changing the setting of where I give these daily devotionals, so I thought I'd come downstairs and sit by the fire. Yesterday, we were thinking about Mark chapter 3, where on the Sabbath day, Jesus goes to the synagogue and he heals a man with a withered hand. The religious people are angered and they go out, they harden themselves and see how they might destroy him. When it comes to the Sabbath day, which for the Christian is a Sunday, the day Jesus rose from the dead, there are always two extremes. Either we take liberties and do our own thing and give God a nod perhaps and go to church once or when it suits us, or else we become very legalistic and tight and critical of what others might or might not do on the Lord's Day, the Sabbath day. Which is right? Who gets it right? I'll tell you who gets it right. Jesus. Jesus always gets it right. He is our supreme example. So we watch him. In the Old Testament, it's very, very clear that God made a day of rest. And Jesus emphasizes that. He says the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. There's some real blessing and necessity about keeping this one day out of 6. It's a creation ordinance. In the Ten Commandments, more flesh is put on it, what we should and shouldn't be doing. The law clarifies what that rest is for. We're told in Exodus 20, it's a day of rest unto the Lord. It's not a negative thing that we do nothing, but something very positive, that we serve the Lord fully and spend time in his presence on that day. Isaiah in chapter 58 says something very, very wonderful. Towards the end of the chapter there, many promises linked to the right keeping of the Sabbath day. Ignore the telephone. If you call the Sabbath a delight. Now, is it that to you? And is it that to me? Jesus in his life, he corrects the errors and demonstrates the right way to keep this particular day. Number one, he went to the synagogue, and at the synagogue he sought fellowship with God, that horizontal dimension, always about his Father's business. But also he had this, the vertical with God. He also had the horizontal with the people around and about him. It was there he met the need of the man with the withered hand. So what do? We go to church. We worship God. We have fellowship with each other. Jesus did acts of mercy, deeds of kindness, works of necessity are allowed on the Sabbath day. You might have a job that demands you work on the Lord's Day. Where is your heart in the matter? I'm sure you'd rather be in the Lord's house. Now today, in the current crisis, we are being told by the government, and it seems rightly so, that we cannot meet together. We're going to miss this. But we keep this, and we try what we can to maintain this. As a church, we're putting things in place. Get on board. Use the telephones. Use social media. Say a word in season. Keep the Sabbath day still today. May it be a delight to you and to me. A time to rest. A time to worship. Doing acts of kindness. Taking a meal round. Giving somebody a telephone call. Wonderfully and providentially, for the first time this Sunday, for the first time in 130 odd years of worship at our current chapel, we're able to broadcast online. And this is the first time as a chapel we've seen fit not to meet together, but we can meet online. So this Sunday, I'll be preaching in the chapel. There'll be somebody filming. I'll conduct a normal service. I'll welcome you. There'll be hymns, there'll be a prayer, there'll be a message, and I want you to gather around, gather your family. If you're an individual or a couple, or you've got little children or older children, gather around, get on YouTube, and 10:30, let's worship the Lord together. Now, I'll be checking. You can click online that you're there. And let's talk about it then together. Let's get online and let's discuss things together. Let's help one another. Let's worship the Lord. Let's rest. Let's encourage one another. Call the Sabbath your delight. May God bless us and help us in these difficult times. I wonder who was on the phone.